My wife's parents insist that I sleep on the couch because I cannot share a bed with my wife while we are in their house. Now, they demand that I apologize for booking a hotel and leaving. We got married last summer. Her family lives across the country, so I'd never actually visited them before, but we'd met a handful of times and always got along fine. They invited us to stay for a few days, and we took them up on it. We flew in yesterday, and everything went great. Her dad and I watched football while she caught up with her mom and sisters. We had this nice dinner, and I was thinking this trip was going to be perfect. Then, bedtime happened. Her parents made it clear they didn't want me sharing a bed with my wife in their house. They expected me to sleep on the couch. At first, I laughed because I genuinely thought they were joking. We're married. We have a marriage certificate and everything. But they weren't joking. I have a bad back from a car accident years ago, and that couch looked like a medieval torture device. Also, just the principle of it bothered me. I'm her husband, not some random boyfriend she brought home. After going back and forth arguing about it, I decided to leave and book a hotel. I told my wife she didn't have to come with me. She chose to stay. I said I'd come back the next day and we'd figure this out. I drove to a Marriott about 10 minutes away and had the best sleep, trying not to let the whole situation get under my skin. Next morning, I called my wife asking when I should come by. She told me her parents wanted me to apologize for leaving the way I did. I told her I was willing to apologize to keep the peace, but they needed to acknowledge it wasn't appropriate to separate a married couple. She said she'd talk to them and call me back. 10 minutes later, she called and said not only would they not apologize, but they were now insisting I had to come back and stay on that couch for the rest of our visit. If I didn't agree, I wasn't welcome back in their house. I was livid at this point. I told her there was no chance I would do that, and I was no longer willing to offer any apology. My wife's sisters started texting me, saying this is just how their parents are, that my wife was very upset, that I needed to give in and stay on the couch before this turned into a family feud. From my perspective, I didn't care what they thought. I was willing to treat the rest of the trip as a solo vacation and meet my wife back at the airport at the end of the week. But then I had an idea. I asked my wife and her sisters to meet me for dinner apart from their parents. When we sat down, I asked my wife if she knew her dad was going to demand we sleep separately. She said she was also surprised by it. She'd expected that if I were still just her boyfriend, but we're married now. I asked them if they thought it was okay for their parents to act like this. They said it wasn't, but they know their father, and it's best to just let things like this go. This led to an uncomfortable conversation about how controlling he can get, how he angers easily when he doesn't get his way, that he was already throwing a fit over me, disrespecting him by leaving. They were all trying to get me to come back and apologize because he would find some way to make them all miserable for the rest of the week if I didn't. I told my wife I was disappointed she wouldn't side with her husband when I was clearly in the right. She went quiet. Then I asked if they thought this was even about house rules or if their dad was just trying to show me who was in charge. They agreed it was about dominance. Up to this point, I'd done everything I could not to escalate, but I started getting mad that they were all so afraid of how their dad would react. My wife was mainly here to spend time with her sisters, whom she rarely sees. So I told them I'd move to a hotel by the beach about an hour away in San Diego for the rest of the week, and I'd book a second room for them if they wanted to join me. They don't get to go on trips much, so I figured they'd be excited for a free vacation away from their parents. They knew their dad would probably freak out when they left, but I think they realized the situation had gone too far. They decided to come and deal with the fallout afterward. I'm about to leave my hotel and hit the road for San Diego. My wife and her sisters are coming down in a car after their parents leave for work. I fully expect their dad to throw a fit when he finds out they left without telling him, but I don't care anymore. At every turn, I tried to be the bigger person. He pushed this too far.